Hi, and welcome back. I am James Betzold. I am an immigration attorney and founder of PrimaFacie, also now a CLE speaker. All right, so today I want to talk a little bit about technology and storing data for your firm. All right, so let's begin. All right, okay, we got it working. All right, so what are the goals of file storage or data storage in your firm? Well, it should be to save your files, back up your files again, so you have redundant backups. And of course, then you want to be able to access your files and retrieve your files later, save them, and of course, keep it secure. So when we talk about data storage, there's some basic features that you need to be looking for in whatever system you use. And of course, the most basic of all is that you can access them from your computer or from some other device in a secure manner. And of course, if you like to travel, you want to be able to access your data from anywhere in a secure fashion, of course. All right. So when we talk about this, there's some basic options you have. First of all, you could just get a computer. Just store all your data on a local hard drive on your computer, and you could be content with that. I know a lot of people do it, and it's wrong because that computer will break eventually, or you'll lose it, or it'll get stolen, and you may get a replacement, but you won't get the files back. So then the other option that's become very popular now is cloud, saving your files up in the cloud storage, which is okay too. And it's also good. There's a lot of very positive benefits of that. Of course, access from anywhere you have an internet connection. Typically, they're secured, by HTTPS, and so that's good. But if the internet's down, you don't have access to your files, and you got to stop work, and that's no fun. So some people have on-site servers, which have many benefits as well. However, they tend to have higher cost. And then you have to pay for maintenance because it really is a specialty. And so you need someone who knows what they're doing to maintain it. So you could use either of those things or maybe some mixture of all three or more. And we've got a few options we're going to look at today. So now if you decide to go with just a cloud service, I'm going to say that's an oopsies. Because again, if the internet's down, you don't have any files. Not to mention if you run into any syncing errors or if somebody accidentally deletes something and you don't have a way to recreate that or you don't notice it until later, you could be in a situation where you've lost a lot of data. We actually had a situation with the Dropbox account once where we had so many files, just the sheer quantity, the number of files, not the size, but the number of the files reached some sort of limit. And I Googled it back in the day, and at the time anyway, there was some sort of limit and really slowed down performance, and we had a couple close calls there. Now, if you go with the computer-only solution, I would call that a Doopsies. Oopsies, Doopsies, and we'll see what comes next. But, of course, you're subject to hard drive failure. So laptop hard drives are about that size. There's one inside this enclosure here. They have a failure rate. So after a while, they fail, and if you drop your computer, it's very likely that you're going to break in the hard drive first. It may not boot up anymore. So that's a big problem. Not to mention the fact that something small like your laptop, somebody could take it and run away, and you would not have it. And so it's just another one-copy solution. Talking about the local server in your office, questions that you got to answer are, is there redundancy to it? Do you have access to it? Can you get to it if you need to? Or do you need your specialist to help you with that? What else? Other questions you can ask is, does it do anything else for you? Does it allow you VPN access? Does it, do you need a professional in order to access it at all? That sort of limits the use unless you've got that cost covered. So again, we're talking about a mixture. We want to sort of take the best of all of those worlds and create a solution for data storage in your firm so you can minimize the danger or risk of, minimize the risk of data breach or losing data, right? You want to be able to have good control of that in a cost-efficient manner as well. So here's a proposed solution. All right, We had a multifaceted approach. We want some on-site storage. Now, if you say, oh, you know what? It's not a problem because I have one of these and I plug it into my router or my computer and I back up all my files here at the end of each day. I just want you to remember, you drop this and it's gone. It's going to break. And one day you're going to plug it into your computer and it's going to say, hey, in order to use this, you need to format it. And so that's what you're trusting your file system to. Don't do it. It's not smart. It's cheap. But lo que es barato sale caro. So, anyways, yeah, so some things that we want in the solution. We want local on-site storage. We want redundant backups, right? So multiple systems of backing up your files to help you out in an emergency. You also want a revisioning service to be able to back up your files. So you can say, all right, I want to save the revision history for the last 6 months. So I can go back to any moment in time, kind of like Time Machine on your iPad or on a Mac or something like that. You can go back in time and look at your files or computer the way it was then. That's what you want. And we also want to have some cloud features, right? So you can back up your data to a cloud service in case the worst happens and your office floods or burns or gets hurricaned or gets some other type of disaster, right? Arsoned. Maybe someone arsons your office. That never happens. Oh, and also we could do off-site backups as well. So we'll talk about that. Here we go. So what we're going to suggest to you is network-attached storage. Now, there are network-attached storage devices that are small and inexpensive, like this. This is a Western Digital MyCloud. The problem with this particular device is it's going to store your files, and pretty much that's it, or that's what it's going to do well. It does have network. You know, there's an Ethernet port on the back. You can plug your internet into it. You can plug in USB drives and stuff, and that's okay for a while. But the problem is there's one drive in here. So this is a single drive solution, which is the same problem with your computer or with one of your flash drives or USB drives. If that one drive goes bad, you're up a creek without a paddle. And that's not what we want. So what we are going to suggest is something called a network attached storage, and I'm going to call it a NAS for short. That's the acronym. Here we go. Made by Synology. Okay, this particular one is the model. I don't know if it's going to focus. It's not going to focus. The DS916 Plus. Okay, by Synology. It holds 4 hard drives inside. You can see those. They'll be able to slide out in a little bit. I'll show you. But what this is going to do for you is it's going to act kind of like a server. Okay, for many intents and purposes, it is a server. It has its own CPU. It has its own RAM. It has 4 hard drives in here that you can store information on. And it also has its own operating system. So it doesn't run Windows. It doesn't run Mac. It runs independent of those things. It's called Disk Station Manager. And it's got applications that work on it and is really going to help your office with a lot of features, you know, for functionality and security. So again, the brand is Synology. There's the website. There are other brands out there, but I prefer this one, and it's a good one. And it has won many awards for ease of use and convenience and, I don't know, other stuff. You can look it up. And I would recommend you buy one. In fact, before you watch the rest of the videos in this series, your best use of your time is going to be to buy one of these and then follow along with the rest. And so we've estimated that on average, firms tend to use about 250 gigabytes per year of storage that you need to keep adding, right? So assume you got to add 250 gigabytes a year. We're going to recommend one of these, and it's going to last you. If you get one with 4 bays, it'll with the recommended specs, it could easily last you 10 years, right? 8 or 10 years. If you do more videos and you have more high storage requirements, of course, it's going to last less. But there's also other models that you can buy that'll hold 8 drives instead of 4. And so you can pick one that's going to fit your practice well. Here we go. Yeah, so again, I would recommend you pick a model that has at least a quad-core processor and a decent amount of RAM. I'm going to recommend at least 4 gigabytes. It's not a whole lot that it has to do, so you don't need like 8 gigs or 16 gigs of RAM like you would on a computer. But what it does is real important. So I would say at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's going to put you on the high end, so you're not going to be dealing with obsolete equipment in a couple years. It'll be something you can use for years and years to come. For buying them, go ahead, buy them on Amazon. They don't typically come with hard drives, so beware of that. You want to buy the right amount of drives and the right size. If you buy a 4-drive model, I recommend you buy 5 drives, because one of those is going to be your spare that you can plug in case one of them has a malfunction. When we're talking about the hard drives, let me just pull one out of here right now. Oops. We'll pull out the first one here. Hold it up so you can see it. These are Western Digital. I don't know if we get, there we go. Western Digital, red, and it says right there, I don't know if you can read it, it says NAS hard drive. There we go. So these red label drives by Western Digital are super high quality. They're designed to work in a NAS, right? So they're built with the good guts for running all the time and data and checking it. They're built to last. And of course, this one here is 4 terabytes large. So that's what I would recommend you get. Get 5 of these that are 4 terabytes a piece. One's your extra. The other 4 you're going to slide into the front of the NAS here. And I'll show you how to install those another day. All right, let's put that in there. Well, let me make sure I get it in the right way. Okay, now, yeah, they're a little more pricey than some other drives, but they're worth it, like I said, and it's not something you want to mess around with. These are your files. These are your client's information. Yada, yada, yada. Next. All right, pricing. Yeah, so the DS918 Plus is about $540, but if you're looking at the price of a traditional server, here I have $2,000. That's not accurate anymore. It's more like $3,000 you're going to have to spend if you go the route of a traditional server, and then you're going to have to pay someone to do all your maintenance and all of your upkeep and software upgrades, and then you got to pay for software licenses on top of that. So this model, the 916 or the 918 Plus, they're great models, highly recommended, and they're going to last you a long time. So open up the wallet, get ready to spend a little bit of money. It's totally worth it. Right, we talked about the drives. You want the WD, the Western Digital Red series, 4 to use, 1 extra. Yeah. So you're also going to be accessing your NAS via your local network. So what that means is you want to make sure that you have some decent networking equipment as well. Okay, we're not going to go too far into networking equipment on this series, but suffice it to say, make sure you've got at least wireless N. Wireless AC is going to be a lot faster. It's like twice as, I don't remember, but it's a lot faster than wireless N even. So I highly recommend you make sure you're in a decent situation with your local network equipment, and you're going to need a good wired connection to the NAS. That's why there's Ethernet ports on the back. You're going to plug that one in, actually. There are options to use it via wireless, but I'm going to say just go with the Ethernet cable. It'll be faster that way. All right. Also, have good computers, right? You got a great NAS, you're going to want good computers. If it's been a few years since you've upgraded your computers, take a look at the market. Computers are not expensive right now. But this NAS, this will work with Macs, it'll work with PCs, and it'll work with Linux. So if you want to go and start using Linux in your firm, it's another good option. Actually, there's a lot of software. In fact, I did a study recently, and I went through and I rebuilt a computer with all the software I was going to need for my firm, and there's everything. And most of it's free. So hopefully that sounds enticing. It's a different system, but it's so easy to install now. It's amazing. We'll do another series of videos on that in the future. All right, local network security. All right, have a basic firewall as part of your network infrastructure. You store countless troves of data that hackers would love to get their hands on. And here's the goal for the rest of the lessons here. I want to help you set up your NAS. We're going to set up different folders. You're going to be able to set user accounts access restrictions, folders that are specifically for certain people who are going to log in. We're going to enable redundant backups. We're going to enable file revisioning, cloud backups. We're going to create a VPN, a virtual private network of your own that you can use, which is going to be a secure way for you to access your data when you're out of town or out of the country, or in Cuba, for example. You don't want anyone sniffing your packets or finding out what you're doing. Yeah, create accounts for your staff, and we're going to explore some of the other fun apps in there, like NoteStation or Chat, which is a Slack alternative. So, all right, and here's the promo. This video is brought to you by PrimaFacie. I am James Betzold. I am the founder of PrimaFacie, and we are online cloud-based immigration form software for attorneys. We have a client portal. We have auto-filling forms. You can track priority dates, monitor expiration dates, use task management notes, and more. You get a free 15-day trial at www.PrimaFacieNow.com. And if you're not an immigration attorney and you're watching this video, I hope you have a nice day too. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.